to Falling Upwards,
the
show where alongside celebrity guests, or sometimes not, we chat about their lives and some of the must-know news of the week to assess whether they are strange successes, fantabulous failures, or pure unadulterated mids. Alongside me is the Queen Arbiter, the ultimate judge of all things failure, my radiant co-host Maddie Armstrong. I know I'm not allowed to ask you how you are, so I'll just say hello. Have you had a nice meal today at any point?
I had this little blueberry scone cake thing. I don't think it was a scone. I don't know what it was.
Did you make it or did you buy it?
Someone made it, but not me. How is the football?
The football, I will be wearing an England shirt until England get kicked out, or hopefully win. Either. England have not played yet. We play on Wednesday, so they will have played by the time our listeners listen to this episode. But it has been a decent tournament so far. It has obviously been riddled with controversy because every World Cup is, with the amounts of weird things that rich people in charge will do. But there have been a lot of lovely stories from the World Cup, including, and I know you love an underdog, Maddie, Cape Verde, a very small little island nation, played Spain yesterday, current European champions. They've won the World Cup before. And they drew 0-0.
Oh, I thought you were going to say they won.
No, it's a big upset because, Spain, top 10 in the world. Couldn't tell you where Cape Verde is in the rankings, but it shows you grit and fight can help you beat any Goliath. And it was a lovely moment.
Or match them at least.
Or match them at least, yes. Well, the reason why it's, people thought Spain would kind of bash everyone and top the group, which is obviously good for them, but it shows it might not be the easiest route for them. So we like these little
go Cape Verde.
Curacao played their first ever World Cup game. They're a little island nation of 150,000 people. So that was a lovely story.
Wow.
Right
wow.
Yeah.
Good for them.
They played Germany, who are over 70 spots in the rankings above them, and they did not win. They got battered 7-1, but they did score a goal, their first ever goal in World Cup history.
Oh, well, good for them.
So we live for these little stories, these little nations getting recognition on the world stage. Today is an episode with just me and Maddie, Queen Emperor of all things failure assessment related. So let's kick off with the music. We always like a hot girl summer, but it's been hot girl week really in music. This is my music bundling right here. It has never been a better time to be a female pop artist, especially this week. We kick off things with Olivia Rodrigo releasing what is probably one of the biggest albums of the year, You Seem Pretty Sad for a Girl So in Love. In an interview with Cosmopolitan's Madison Who, she talks about, quote, "We really edited the hell out of this album." I thought Maddie would enjoy hearing that. Good editing with an album. She also mentions there was so much more joy in the songwriting. There are some songs that are plain old sad, but also some that are just plain old fun. I was really excited to write about joy, love, and passion in a way that I had never really done before. Her newest single from the album is Stupid Song, and my personal favourite is Purple. But it's not just Olivia. It's not just Olivia. We have more girls doing cool things in music. My next offering as part of this big music cacophony is Iconic by Mistake, which I know you know this has dropped already, Mads, which involves 3 of the biggest girl groups right now, ILLIT, KATSEYE and LE SSERAFIM, obviously all under the same company, all doing a song together in a manner that just blew my mind when I saw the trailer for it drop. And they address all of the hate, the online chatter, often undeserved, that comes their way, including the lyric, "Never off duty, taking a beating. I keep on cheesing. Looks are deceiving. And then lastly, because there's more stuff. The girls can't stop doing stuff. Taylor Swift also drops a song because she's written a brand new song for Toy Story 5. I told a friend the other day that Toy Story 5 was coming, and she was like, I didn't even realize there was a 4. I was like, look, they just keep making them. We can't stop it. They just keep making them. The song is called I Knew It, I Knew You. It has achieved #1 in the UK. It's her 7th #1 in the UK. It includes the lyric, I memorized the sound of your bare footsteps running wild. It's been a long time. Taylor talks about the fact that it is a big honor to be given the blessing to write a song for Toy Story. She mentions writing this song felt like a musical departure and coming home at the same time. Thoughts, please.
Oh my goodness.
Queen Emperor on, it's not Hot Girl Summer, Hot Girl June week, June fortnight. There's been so much.
To be honest, I've not seen Toy Story 4 yet. The original Toy Story was like our childhood, but now the ones that are coming out is like the childhood of another generation. It's wild.
Right? Yeah. Taylor does mention this. She said, being a Toy Story kid from the age of 5 till now. Isn't that wild? From the age of 5, and now she's written a song for it. It's been a long time.
I want to say I'm happy for the girls. I am happy that there is so much pop out there. Some of it's a bit clunky, some of it is exciting. I think Iconic by Mistake is definitely a hate it or you love it kind of track. I personally think the song is fun. It's definitely from 2026. That's for sure. It is very, very composed. Like it's very thickly composed. But the chorus is catchy and the choreography is fun as well. It accumulates the vibes of all three groups, at least the recent ones of all three groups, really well, because ILLIT had that recent change up with It's Me, which was polarizing. However, I did enjoy the choreography for that as well, and the more I listened to it, the more I got used to it and liked it more. So I will say it's a good comeback. It's a good comeback for the all three groups, but you just gotta give it a little bit of time.
And it is very cool to see, like, so many groups are pitted against each other. So many female artists in general are pitted against each other.
Yeah.
But to see all three groups sharing the stage, very cool. Very, very cool. I thought you'd find it interesting what Olivia Rodrigo said about her process with the album, because I know you find these things interesting. She mentions that when recording Sour, this is in her interview with Cosmo, the whole world was watching, I wrote, and we just recorded and put it out. Then she mentioned the amount of pressure she was under with Guts. She says, I was under so much pressure. Oh my God, I'm never going to be able to make another good song. It wasn't even making music to make music. It was making music to please people or prove something. And obviously her newest album has been received really well. And I think something that you are always good at talking about, Mads, is about why artists are making music and the pressure commercial artists are under. So I thought you'd find that interesting.
Unless my concept of time has been distorted, I think the gap between Guts and this new album is larger than the gap between Sour and Guts, and I think that's for good reason. I am glad that Olivia has seemingly gone off and had a bit of a mind cleanse, because there was a lot of discourse surrounding her and other artists that surely will have affected her artistry. As she said, she felt like she had to prove something with Guts. And that takes such a huge toll as well when the whole world is expecting something of you. So now that she took enough time where people's eyes were off her for a few minutes, it seems like she's come back with the rest that she needed and a more clear review. So I haven't listened to the full album yet, but I have good hopes for it.
Which is why allow artists to make their art and don't make it only about sales, money. Where are we putting the Hot Girl Music Week fortnight?
Well, I think fittingly for a musical win, we are going to hear a short celebratory musical piece right here.
Yay, one for the girls. This one is less fun. This one, I saw this and I went, I need to bring it to Maddie and I need to bring it to our listeners. If you need a tissue, maybe you do need a tissue. Let's just dive into it.
I do. I've been holding in a squeeze this whole episode.
A cockroach kingpin is caught with over 100,000 illegal insects in record bug bust. This is from the Huffington Post, reported by Charlotte Graham-Maclay. Australian officials have confiscated more than 100,000 illegal live cockroaches from a breeder in the country's largest ever seizure of exotic invertebrates. The haul, it's weird talking about cockroaches as a haul, isn't it? The haul of cockroaches was worth 200,000 Australian dollars. It was seized from a commercial breeder. It was the Madagascar hissing species of I'll be honest, I don't know much about cockroaches. I'm not a fan. The Madagascar hissing species is one of the world's biggest cockroaches, measuring 2 to 3 inches in length. Photos released by the department showed some larger than a person's finger. It is bigger than the common Australian cockroach. It's suspected that they were being bred because they're bigger, that makes them better food for people that need food for their reptiles. So they have appealed to people to please seek out normal crickets or wood roaches to feed your lizards instead, not these big, massive cockroaches. And of course, for anyone who doesn't know, Australia very, very strictly protects their wildlife and what comes into the country to keep it as ecologically safe and healthy as possible. So this was genuinely a potential wildlife threat. So it's not just that they don't like cockroaches, it's because they don't want it to harm the wildlife in Australia. Thoughts, please, Queen Emperor.
I never thought I'd hear the words cockroach kingpin for sure. I would say let's breed our cockroaches ethically and normally without disrupting the environment or ecosystem.
Yeah.
I mean, do you mind a cockroach? Because the first time I ever saw a cockroach was actually in Korea last month, and I was very chill about it. I caught it and took it outside. I'm guessing
I've like trained myself to be okay with most insects and arachnids. Cockroaches are the one that just, I don't know whether maybe an ancestor dealt with something weird and it's still in my body, but there's a big, have you been to the insect house in London Zoo?
No.
In London Zoo, they have a big insect house and you can walk around and see all the insects, and they actually have like a free spider room where all the spiders are loose and you can walk around.
No.
But they have one like big glass installation that is just all cockroaches. And I'll be honest, the last time I went to London Zoo, I was like, you know what? You're getting braver as a person. You can walk around the insect house, no problem, you'll be fine. And I was, until I got to that glass casing, and I genuinely was like, nope, nope, I can't, there's too many. It was like at least like 30 or 40 just clustered in this. Nope, I don't know what it is. I can't.
That's me with spiders.
Like I could never do like any kind of weird jungle thing involving loads of cockroaches. I could not do.
So you would not be able to make it on I'm a Celebrity?
I feel that I respect the insect kingdom, and I think that part of that respect is that we should just stay away from each other.
Okay, I would be happy with spiders existing if I just never saw them, right?
Right. Yeah.
I know there is probably a spider in my room as we speak, right? But I don't see it, so I can pretend it doesn't exist. As soon as I see it, it can be like the furthest point away from me, and it might as well be an inch away from me. I just have to not see it. Now that I mentioned I'm a Celebrity, Get Me Out of Here, there was one incident on the show a couple months ago that I did think about bringing to the lawn for your thoughts, Emma.
Hit me. Let's do it. For international listeners who might not know, I'm a Celebrity is a show where celebrities get sent to. I actually have no idea how it's filmed. I assume the jungle or like an area of jungle cleared out for
Yeah,
them, and they have to do like intense jungle trials to make it out. And all I know is that footballer Jill Scott, who was part of the England Lionesses, I think won one year.
it's usually in the jungle. This time it was in South Africa, which it usually is not, but this was special. And it was bringing back loads of celebrities that have been on it before, including Gemma Collins, famous claustrophobic Darren Collins, and Adam Thomas, who's famous for soap operas, but very controversially, when it was last on, I watched this happen. I don't know if it was live, the incident, if that was live, or if it was, I think it was, but it was anyway when it was being live broadcast, the actual show. And what they have to do is these bush tucker trials where they are kind of put in a cage with maybe some bugs or like some little snakes or just lots of different things like that, and they have to complete a challenge like find a star or answer a question while enduring whatever's going on so that they can win some extra food for the campmates for the day, that sort of thing. But this particular one, they paired up the finalists. So Adam Thomas was paired up with footballer Jimmy Bullard. And Jimmy was the one that was meant to crawl under this thing and get to the end, while Adam was in a cage full of like all these bugs, and Adam was like putting loads of work in, and Jimmy was stood at the end of this other thing. So all Jimmy had to do was like crawl through a thing that everyone else was doing fine. And the rules were that if one of the pairs failed to do it, that failed both of them, and both of them had to leave the show and go home. So there was a lot of stakes on this, and the massive controversy happened where Jimmy just straight up refused to even try at the start of it. And Adam, he was full of books, right? He was putting his work out. And the other contestants, like Sunita was there. She was like, do you not even want to try? But he just straight up refused and just stood there and said, I'm sorry, I can't do it. A lot of the controversy.
But why? Why?
He just wasn't feeling it.
He couldn't do it.
He just sometimes you just aren't feeling it, right? But it's because it affected Adam as well that people were upset about it. And Adam himself got visibly upset on the show, right? And he actually swore, I think, on TV. And he got like visibly angry and visibly upset, which I think was understandable, but obviously his conduct wasn't stellar. So
oh my gosh.
But the story continues. So they went to so they had to go, I think they went to like a quick break, and obviously it looked like, well, now both Jimmy and Adam are booted off the show. This is a terrible turn of events. The challenge is over because we've already got our losers of the competition. But after the break and after like a certain amount of time of chatting with the other campmates, Ant and Dec, who are the hosts of the show, they talked to the other campmates and they were like, because of what's gone on, we want your verdict on this. We're going to give you the chance to give Adam the chance to stay on the show, and Jimmy will go home because he's pulled out. What do you think? Does he deserve that? I mean, he did just, have an outburst.
Yeah.
And they came to the unanimous decision to keep Adam on the show and give him that chance again. So we watched this man go through a huge emotional roller coaster, like despair, denial, anger, and then relief when he got told to him that his campmates had voted to keep him in the show. So Emma, I want to ask you, as my loyal jester, you can be an honorary arbiter of failure today. What is your verdict on this?
Okay. Absolutely deserved. The man was covered in bugs. He was going through it. And he didn't have a teammate to help him out. Absolutely deserved rescue, stay, verdict. Absolutely. Oh my God. Oh, that was a roller coaster just listening to you talk about that. I was like, ah.
It tore me. You know, I was very torn because on one hand, I'm like, yeah, sometimes if you're not feeling something, no one can force you to do it. But also, if your actions are hurting another person, how responsible are you for it? If it's a effect of it rather than you actively trying to hurt them, how responsible are you for that? So it did spark a lot of conversation.
And I assume, and tell me if I'm wrong, that like as creepy as any of these challenges are, they are set up to know that he won't be seriously hurt.
Yeah.
So like even if he's uncomfortable, right? Whatever he's covered with or whatever, they already know that it's not something that's going to be life threatening. So it's so all it is really is just mentally, is that something that you can cope with? It's not like he's standing there going, oh my God, this could genuinely hurt me, because like they just wouldn't, production wouldn't allow that to happen.
The guy clearly just had a mental block that just wasn't allowing him to do it, but he did just stand there with his hands on his hips and said no. He didn't even, get down and have a look. He just
said no straight up. Damn. Okay, well I've given a woo to Adam, which we can celebrate, but what are you giving to the Cockroach King? Pin.
Yeah, I think fail for trying to mess up the the ecosystem with your huge cockroaches.
100,000 cockroaches.
Yeah. Emma would not be happy to see that many cockroaches.
I don't think many people would, to be fair.
No! God, please, no! 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 No!
Okay, we know what's now. It's the time when the queen is in charge. Let's go.
Oh my goodness. You know things have been bad when the fandom is relieved to hear of the cancellation of the thing they are the fandom of. So in case you didn't hear, global sensation and gem of the UK, Doctor Who, has been cancelled after 21 years of being back on air. Before that, it had been cancelled for 15 years, bar a TV movie, and first aired in, I think, was about 1960, something like that, or maybe a bit before. It started off in black and white. It is a huge part of British television. Most of our childhoods, we watched Doctor Who on the TV, particularly during the original David Tennant and Matt Smith eras, and Christopher Eccleston. And it has been a long period of things going a little bit downhill until recently, when it had a rebirth, or they hoped it was a rebirth, with the showrunner from Chris Eccleston and David Tennant's era coming back to revitalize the show. And it was going quite well. The 2 seasons he did with Ncuti Gatwa, I thought they were good, except for the finales and like a couple episodes here and there. And those finales stained the rest of the season so badly. It was wrapped up so badly that we genuinely forgot how much we enjoyed the episodes that came before. despite the actors being fantastic, that's how you know the writing has failed, when no one can even remember how good the acting was, or the music, or like how good the visuals were, because the story itself just failed. And the things that it promised to wrap up, the doors that it opened, it didn't close, it didn't tie together. And we were left with a really terrible cliffhanger. I think Doctor Who fans, we were tired of having nostalgia thrown in, but without good harmony. It was nice to see old faces, that's for sure, and there were some lovely moments that involved those faces. But the very last moment of the show we see, yeah, it was a very cheap way of getting people to talk about it, and kind of, it's like using the defibrillator. Like, this is our last ditch effort of trying to keep this show alive, but it was very blatant, and there was no sense to what happened. And also, people at that point were tired of seeing faces just brought back, characters that had been wrapped up beautifully before. This makes no sense being here. Why are we doing this? And now there is no conclusion to that. There is no story that we're going to get from that last cliffhanger, because there was never one to begin with.
As someone who doesn't watch Doctor Who, all I know is that all I know is that whoever was the current, this is how much I do not know anything about Doctor Who. All I know is that Billie Piper was who was regenerated. Billie Piper appeared at the end. She was regenerated into, right, as the new Doctor. So no answers on that. Nobody's ever gonna. That's like the ending that everyone is being left with. Is that right?
This is the second time they've brought her back. The first time, while Stephen Moffat was running the show, her face was brought back, but it made sense. She was like a image of someone's memories. She represented a decision to make, a very strong decision. So it was done in a great way, but it lost that elegance, and it was sad to see.
Right.
If you ask me, I think the good years were from Eccleston as the Doctor to Capaldi as the Doctor. That was like when I would describe the show as fantastic. We still had some good episodes from Whittaker's time, and it was lovely seeing Tennant back on screen with Donna. And Ncuti was amazing, but the nostalgia bit, as they call it, and the kind of, I don't know, the writing that just went downhill, it did kill the show.
The sense I was getting as an outsider, purely seeing Buzz, was that during both Jodie and Ncuti's period, it's almost like they didn't really know how to write well for either form of the Doctors consistently, and that kind of brought the overall goodwill or love for the show down. Does that feel like an accurate assessment from someone as an outsider?
The characters were not greatly written. We had some great actors. The companions in Whittaker's era were not fleshed out at all.
Right.
And Whittaker, she did her best. She is a great actress, but she just wasn't like written that great. The runner at the time, he can write shows, but I just don't think Doctor Who was for him.
This is the eternal question with any franchise, isn't it? Where, I mean, we were talking about Toy Story 5 earlier. When a franchise is successful, when it clearly has a massive fan base, when is it right to let it die? Because obviously people in the studios are thinking, we want to keep this going. Obviously there will be people with purse strings going, we want to keep the money coming in. But they also need to remember, like, if fans love a franchise, even if it's not airing anymore, people are still going to keep enjoying it. Like, with what you were saying with Doctor Who ending, like Doctor Who's not dead now. Like, people are still gonna keep buying Doctor Who figurines. People are still gonna be in fandom spaces. When I go to next Comic-Con, I'm sure there are still gonna be people dressing up as Daleks. Like, that's not gonna die. It's just that it doesn't exist in this like present form where you can keep making new money off new products and content that comes directly from you. Fandom will never die just because a production company is not carrying on making that thing. So, you know, sometimes, you know, when do you let a franchise die? Should we let it die when it's at its peak? Versus, it sounds like from hearing you talk about it, it's just been a sad decline into a show that hasn't been fun for you anymore, which is arguably sadder than if it had ended on a high.
I would have preferred if it ended, at least for a while, maybe at the end of Capaldi's or at the end of Whittaker's. I think that would have been a nice ending point. However, it's a show that at least the story doesn't really end. So people have always said about how it's a great premise because it can go on, you know? And people that love the show like me, who've grown up with it, we want to keep seeing what does the Doctor do next. We love to see the infinite possibilities of the universe be reflected in this magical tale, right? This fantastic story. And we had that magic in like the Tennant and Smith era particularly. And it's just been so sad to see it die. But I'm also glad that my favorite Smith was never kind of brought back, because that would have put a stain on it like it did with Tennant a little bit. I think it just needs lots of time. I think the story has to continue, and at least if it ever ends forever, which sounds crazy to me, it has to end in a way that continues to tell the story. But right now, where the story is, it can't be left like this. You know, there has to be some kind of fix to it, but just not for a few years, I think. I think it just needs to breathe.
What are your emotions? Are you feeling relief? Because I feel like that's what you led with. Or are you feeling like a bit of grief and mourning? What are you feeling?
I was already grieving while it was airing, but I just had hope, right? I just had so much hope, but the hope was not being fulfilled. So I guess my relief now comes from the fact that people are acknowledging that the way it was is not how it can continue.
Yeah.
So now I have renewed hope that when it is picked up again, no matter how many years that is in, it will have the same elegance as it did when Christopher Eccleston was the new face of what they called New Who. And that was such an exciting, fresh era that was different than anything we'd seen before.
Right.
But it still felt like Doctor Who. That still was the Doctor.
Yeah.
It just needs time, as does many things.
Can I add to the slightly morose mourning period that we're in at the moment? So today assignments for the Figure Skating Grand Prix have gone out, and it has confirmed what I thought I was emotionally prepared for, but I'm not, which is that one of my favourite ice dance pairs of all time, Piper Gilles and Paul Poirier, will not be returning. And, you know, I thought it was coming after Olympic season, because that's when a lot of skaters in general kind of reevaluate whether it's still for them. Sometimes they've achieved a goal by going to the Olympics, all of these things. I feel like we knew it was coming, that they might not continue, and then it was confirmed by them themselves that they're not going to continue, and I thought I was emotionally ready, but I'm not. And just for context, listeners, I feel like I've watched them skate for a decade. I feel like I have changed as a human being alongside watching these people skate, and I've needed a moment. I genuinely needed a moment. I was like, I thought I was prepared for this. And I genuinely needed a moment. And that's what made me think, because you were talking about Doctor Who, and obviously you've grown up watching that and seeing this news, and obviously reflecting on how it's changed, whether it's for the better or for the worse. Change happens. Change is part of life.
And just terrifying.
And with that, we will go to the exchange. What are you exchanging, Maddie?
Okay, I'm not exchanging this to you, Emma, because I don't think it's your cup of tea. But I am exchanging to listeners if there's any single person that has not heard of this yet. It is quite scary at parts, but the recent Backrooms film, directed by Kane Parsons, is a good production. It is a good film, and it is the opposite of what had become of Doctor Who, I would say. It's a fresh mind coming to something with full artistic integrity, not letting anything stain it, nothing AI, nothing revised or changed for the sake of shareholders or what anyone might want, just for the pure artistry and intention that was there from the beginning. So I respect it for that. It does have a very scary moment near the end, but most of the scariness of the film is just the loneliness it exudes, because we're seeing a lot of these empty rooms, but they feel like they shouldn't be empty. And it's the space that has created itself, which is a huge mystery of itself. And it comes under the genre of cosmic horror, which I have a lot of fascination with. So if that's your cup of tea, I would recommend it, but I would recommend it holding someone's hand, and just be wary of what happens when we come to a dinner table.
I will contribute to the exchange. Slime! I didn't understand the appeal of slime. I did not get it. I was watching people, like, I understood it conceptually, and that I get why from a tactile point of view people would be into it, but I was like, I don't know if this is for me. And then I went and got a pot of gooey, and this is my life now. It is so common, to the point where I have to travel a lot this week, and I even bought a portable version so I can take it on the train.
Tiny slime.
I get it now. I get it, like and then you just sit there and you just need it, and you just it's so calming. Oh my god.
So are you
like now?
Are you doing the slime like on a train?
Well, because this one's mini, so you can, like, I've mixed it already, and then you can just pop it out, and I can just
amazing.
Does this work for on ASMR? Anyway, yeah. So this is. I did not realize how calming it would be, truly. But I get why people who have anxiety or just like, they need the comfort of having that tactile sensation. I get it so hard. I'm so sorry for doubting the fullness of this experience before. It's outstanding. Yay! I texted a friend being like, I've just got into slime, and I was going through it with him, and he was like, this sounds amazing. It's actually just the sounds, because they smell. So this one smells of pistachio. The baby one smells of pistachio. Oh. This one smells of grape.
Oh, nice.
It's the full sensory experience, people. It's amazing. So, slime.
You know what always did it for me was watching soap cutting on Instagram. Have you never seen soap cutting?
No, I have. I get it. I get it. Soap cutting or like slime squishing, you know, when people coat slime in like wax and things and then they crush it. Oh, don't get me a birthday cake. Just get me that for my birthday. Just get me that. I just want to do the crushing. Amazing. Absolutely amazing.
Woo!
Mads, do you have a sign off?
We've talked about so many things. I feel like I can't wrap up everything in one. I suppose what comes to mind, I think it's the line in SpongeBob where they're like, "Stop, he's already dead!" So I would say, don't kick a dead horse. That's probably what that phrase means. This is the first time I've ever used it. Just let things be.
I will contribute. It's okay to mourn the things that you love, even if they're not people. Because, you know, some people laugh and they're like, "Oh, why are you mourning a thing? It's not a living thing. Why are you mourning a thing?"
Because this was a part of me.
No, it feels like do you feel like, I don't want to get too deep at the end to bring our listeners down, do you feel like you're saying goodbye to part of yourself by saying goodbye to Doctor Who? Or is it like you said, you had already started saying goodbye long before the end?
But myself kind of resides in the 11th Doctor era anyway, so I can just go back there to find myself.
I don't want to get like, this is the most parasocial I'll ever get about anything, I think. I genuinely feel like I'm saying like farewell to an era with Piper and Paul, which I like, my brain is like I grew up, man. What?
Wow. So they had a long run.
What? Yeah. What?
Oh, I'm sorry, Amy.
No, it's okay because I have slime, and that's how I'll go.
Things change, and it's terrifying.
See, I feel like if, you know, when we have the episodes with guests on, you and I always try to end it in like the most chipper way because we want to send them off with.
We get deep very easily.
Yeah.
We're there to drag us out of this hole.
We're stuck here in our melancholia. Well, we do have a fantastic guest coming onto the lawn next week. We're both very excited for him. Him, a teaser.
Ooh.
It's him. We're very, very excited. Oh,
him.
You know the gender. We're very, very excited. So do pop back. We are sure that you will have a ball of a time listening or watching along, depending on what you do. But until then, thanks for being morose with me, Matt. Thanks for joining me on this journey. Thank you for all the lovely listeners for joining us, listening to all of Maddie's judgments, and we'll see you next time on Falling Upwards.